Hey guys, I'm trying to do my September wrap-up video, and it's very hard because I know I have a little space of quiet time, and yeah, I have a lot I want to say because it's been hard filming lately with kids. So anyway, that said, here's my September wrap-up. It was a good reading month. I read 10 books, and I was excited about almost all of them. So first up, Packing for Mars by Mary Roach, The Curious Science of Life in the Void. If you don't know who Mary Roach is, she does a great job at doing science writing from kind of a layman's perspective. She also has a very crass sense of humor. I really enjoyed it. I got questions answered I didn't know I had, like how do you go to the bathroom in outer space when there's no gravity? Yeah, so if you have a favorite Mary Roach book that you would like to recommend, put it in the comments because I will be reading more of her. I'm thinking I might go with Bonk, but I haven't quite decided. So let me know what you think. So yes, and if you don't know Mary Roach, pick her up because she's good. Secondly is Behold the Dreamers by Imbolo Mbue, I think is how you say her name. And I really appreciate this book. I've been looking forward to it for a while. I heard about it on a Book Riot podcast. If you don't know Book Riot podcasts, look them up. They are where I get probably 90% of my book recommendations. And basically it is the story of a couple that has immigrated from Cameroon, and they're trying to get their papers in the States right around the time where Wall Street kind of had its collapse in the 90s. And it was really, really done well. They work for a couple that's a well-to-do American family, and they're kind of envying them, but also seeing where their life is falling apart at the same time. And also their values are changing, and they have to figure out which direction they want their own lives to go and what they think success means. It was much more complicated than I expected it to be. I loved how she describes the little things that Native Americans might take for granted. But I also loved how you could definitely tell she has a love for Cameroon and the good things about there. And it just really made you feel like what's important in life. And I love books like that. But yeah, definitely pick it up. Behold the Dreamers. It was a good one. Next up, I read Dark Matter by Blake Crouch, and I always want to say Barty Crouch because of Harry Potter whenever I see his name. So I was really proud that I said Blake Crouch. This book, and I talked my husband into it, he's halfway through, and I don't know if he's loving it as much as I did. I thought it was really interesting. Basically, there is a nuclear physicist who, he loves his life, but he has gone the more family man route and decided to stay at home with not stay at home, but teach at the college and not go deep in the research route so he can actually have time with his family, which he is happy with that decision. At the same time, he sees one of his friends get an award, and he knows that he is smarter than his friend, and so he's kind of dealing with that. Anyway, that is how the book starts. And then within a few chapters, he is abducted and wakes up in a place that he does not know. And so he's trying to kind of figure out how to get home, what's going on. I don't want to spoil any more than that, but I read this very quickly, I think within a day, because I needed to know what happened. If you liked The Martian and like kind of more hard sciencey type things, I think this is a good read-alike just because it definitely touches on some of those questions. But it was also accessible if you are not a huge science person. You just kind of maybe skim past some of the harder science stuff and get to it. But I thought it was really a cool book. Next up, I already returned the rest of these to the library if I didn't have them, was Love Warrior by Glennon, Doyle, Melton, not Merton. And I loved this book. This is definitely a 5-star. I'd been looking forward to it since her last book came out. It asks a lot of questions about what love is and how to fight for yourself, how to be comfortable with yourself. And I've been having a lot of hard times with that lately. A woman in your 30s, you know how it is if you are a woman, or in your 30s. You know it's hard when you start realizing that you can't have it all and you have to choose things and you have to figure out what's important and what's not and who's good for you and who's not and how to relate to people when we're all kind of walking around with our own baggage. And she does a great job of affirming you, but also encouraging you to seek what path is good. And I will be definitely buying it for myself because I want to write in all the margins and highlight everything and get t-shirts with all the quotes. So definitely Love Warrior is going to be one of my one of my favorite nonfiction reads, I think, this year. Next up is Homegoing by Yaa Gyasi, and I did a whole nother video on that. It's beautiful. If you have not heard of it, pick it up. It's going to be probably my favorite fiction of the year. It goes through basically a slave family and a non-slave family that has been split for about 200 years of time. And so you get different characters' perspectives, and you see how racism and slavery affects one family over hundreds of years. And it was so beautifully done. I loved it. It could have been 500 pages, 700 pages, 800. I would have eaten it up because she was an amazing writer. It's her first novel. I do not know how she's going to top that. I always feel badly for writers that do so well on their first time because I don't know how she's going to one-up it, but it was good. Next up is The Hallelujah Life by Richard Propst, and that's one of my friends I've talked about before. And yeah, that was also linked to my Diversathon video, so if you want to check that out. Then came Miracle of Mindfulness by Thich, Nhat, Hanh, and also a good one if you're trying to be more mindful, if you're trying to figure out how to, choose your priorities, and I will be reading more of his books as well. Then came Opposite of Spoiled, Raising Kids Grounded, Generous, and Smart About Money, which you can tell I'm a parent when you're reading books like that. It was a decent book. There are a few good things in there, but yeah, it was okay. It wasn't amazing. It was good. Women in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware, and that was between 3 and 4 stars. It was kind of, everybody's doing the whole Girl on the Train, Gone Girl, Women in the Cabin 10. I mean, it's just all these women girl titles, and I know that's like just gotta stop eventually, but it was a good book. It was a page turner. I finished it in probably a day or two. So if you want just something fun for Halloween, go through. It might be a good one. And then finally, The War That Saved My Life by Kimberly Brubaker Bradley. And that was a kind of middle grade reader, but I get 5 stars. I think it'd be amazing even if you're a grown-up. And I did a whole nother video on that. So yep, September was a good reading month. I can't wait to see what October brings because I just got a bunch of really good books from the library. And yeah, I will see you guys later. Have a good day. Bye.